Hey y'all, this is Evvonne. Welcome back, or it's actually kind of rather new. Still Evvonne. My apologies for the delay. I had some technical difficulties that I just fixed. So anyway, let's get into. I'm gonna play the old intro, and I'm gonna get right into because it's literally like this is about to be 20 minutes. All right, so let's go. And what I am, I might not do it. What I'll do is I'll put a timestamp in the description box because I don't like to edit a lot of times because when you edit, it will remove the chat, and I don't like to do that. So anyway, if you're watching now, please share. What's up to everybody that's in the chat right now? Bad and Bougie, Miss Kels, ATF, Mr. King Ty. All right, anyway, let me go ahead and get into it. And please forgive me if I miss anybody. Let's go.
You same motherfuckers the same.
I'm real as the shit, as real as it gets. It's real talk and I'm really the shit. I'm like a star in the presence of gifts. Give you light where it doesn't exist. Real truth put me up on the list. Real talk, can you handle the spit? Real facts put your soul on the lips so we can journey with the solar eclipse. There's realness where reality hits. In the presence of minds with third eyes open all in this bitch. Eyes shut, we just open with slits so you can focus on truth. The vortex catching all of these myths. Facts spoken through the strength of my lips. I'm so amazing with this. Truth is, I'm as real as it gets.
Okay? Work on this shit. My bad, y'all. Forgive me. I be ready to give up, but then people do be encouraging me and stuff like that. But you gotta understand, if you want somebody like me to keep bringing you this truth, or you want me to keep risking shit, I want to say this though.
I'm real as the shit, as real as it gets. It's real talk and I'm really the shit. I'm like a star in the presence of gifts. Give you light where it doesn't exist. Real truth put me up on the list. Real talk, can you handle the spit? Real facts put your soul on the lips so we can journey with the solar eclipse. There's realness where reality hits. In the presence of minds with third eyes open all in this bitch. Eyes shut, we just open with slits so you can focus on truth. The vortex catching all of these myths. Facts spoken through the strength of my lips. I'm so amazing with this. Truth is, I'm as real as it
Or
gets.
more. The fuck? What the fuck you really give a fuck about? I'ma say that. See, a lot of y'all support bullshit. A lot of y'all say you don't want drama. A lot of y'all say you don't want XYZ, but then you don't support a channel like me. And I ain't the only channel out here like me. Anybody, any channel out here that's trying to educate you or wake you the fuck up, support us. Period.
thought that it was a matter of real concern that planted stories intended to serve a national purpose abroad came home and were circulated here and believed here, because this would mean that the CIA could manipulate the news in the United States by channeling it through some foreign country.
All right, I'm back. So anyway, before I get into this, I'm about to share with y'all a little, a very short, it's like 15 minutes. I put together clips to show y'all as far as like, 1 second. Should people, I'm sorry, not people, but should teens or teenagers be sentenced to life in prison? Regardless of what they did, should they be sentenced to that? All right, 1 second. Ooh, my bad, y'all. Trying to get everything right. Anyway, so one thing that got me started or took me down this path, right, as far as like why I want to do this right now. I'm in the DC area, right? So if y'all in the DC area, the Washington DC area, right? Washington, well, we say the DMV, right? Which stands for, the D is for Washington DC, the M is for Maryland, and the V is for Virginia. DC sniper Lee Boyd Malvo. So what's going on right now is he could return to the Montgomery County courtroom for resentencing. So a Maryland judge is considering how and when Malvo should be resentenced for killing 6 people in Montgomery County during the 2002 killings. Now, Malvo is currently serving his Virginia life sentences in a maximum security facility, Red Onion State Prison in southwestern Virginia. Now, let's also be very, very clear, because his counterpart, his father figure, they executed him real fast. Yep. In case you didn't know, I didn't even know this. This is how fast time goes. Think about this. I didn't even realize this. This is what they saying. Now I got to go back and do some fact checking for myself. But what they are saying, Malvo is now 38 years old. Now I just told y'all he was 17 when it went down. This could be correct. But anyway, yeah, he was 17 in 2002. This is what they saying, right? So now he's 38. So among the issues discussed were security challenges and transporting Malvo from a Supermax facility located in Virginia to Montgomery County Jail. So transferring Malvo for resentencing will require agreements from Maryland and Virginia's governors. Montgomery County State's Attorney John McCarthy told Parole he has talked to the victims' families through the years, and they don't want to go through another in-person sentencing for the convicted killer. McCarthy also argued there is no rush to resentence Malvo in Maryland, given his life sentences in Virginia. So the next status hearing is scheduled for December 1st. I say all that to say again, when I saw this article, this is what made me question. Should teens be sentenced to life without parole? Are we supposed to ignore the people that groom some of them? This is not the case for all, but for some of them. Are we supposed to ignore the people that groom them? You have to understand, in the world of crime, a lot of times they will seek out minors because they know the minors in most cases will get lesser time. But you can't go on this type of spree and think you're getting anything less than life without parole. Okay? So anyway, with that being said, let me go ahead and share this video with y'all. Let's go. And then I'm going to come back with my little 2 minutes of commentary and be done.
Tia Skinner and 2 other teens will never see freedom again.
The judge sent them to prison with no chance for parole. They faced their sentence in Port Huron today for a brutal attack in the town of Yale. Skinner, Jonathan Kurtz in the glasses, and James Preston conspired to brutally stab Tia's parents in November of last year. Her father, Paul, was murdered. Her mother, Mara, severely wounded. Here's what the judge said to Tia.
For the premeditated, deliberate murder of your father, you are hereby committed to the Michigan Department of Corrections to be imprisoned for the remainder of your life without any opportunity for parole.
Her 2 accomplices who carried out the attacks got the same punishment: life for wounding Tia's mother and life without parole for murder.
Also today, a teen faces life in prison without parole after a jury found him guilty this afternoon of capital murder.
Jonathan Parole killed a well-respected Universal City physician assistant during a home invasion. Eyewitness News reporter Addie Wahardo was in the courtroom as the jury handed down the verdict.
After 2 full days of testimony, family and friends packed the courtroom. The highly anticipated verdict read guilty, bringing both sides of the family to tears.
Exactly 1 year and 1 day ago, Michael Robinson took his last breath, protecting his family from a burglar who fired a fatal shot. And today, the man who killed him, Jonathan Perales, learned his fate.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Jonathan Perales, guilty of capital murder.
The verdict brought pain and tears, but Robinson's family drew courage to face the man who took their father and brother away.
I recently got married this summer, and I had to walk down without my father next to me.
He was the best big brother and son. He was patient and protective of us.
During closing arguments, the defense argued that Perales didn't intend to kill Robinson during the burglary, but prosecutors pointed to social media pictures that showed a teen armed and dangerous.
He's telling everybody what his intent is, with bars on his tongue and a barrel pointed up.
Their conclusion: he intended to kill Robinson. Perales' mother's cries echoed in the courtroom.
It could have gone both ways, but God chose my son to live, and I believe this is his second chance to redeem himself and to live for the purpose of God.
A faith strong enough to make peace as Perales faces life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Ed and Emily, the victim's mother, took the witness stand here this afternoon, delivering a powerful victim impact statement. She said she knows that no sentence can bring back her son, but she wants his killer to spend life in prison, and the judge handed down the maximum. A compelling, emotional victim impact statement this afternoon from the mother of Lee Paulino. The 16-year-old was stabbed repeatedly, killed and beheaded by his friend Matthew Borges in November 2016 in Lawrence. The victim's family calls the killing assassination.
With the assassination of Lee Monroe, we were also assassinated because Lee was everything for this family. It was my firstborn. There are no more dreams for the dreamer, the brother, the writer, and the poet that was Lee Monroe Veloria Paulino, because the mind of this criminal landed on him as a target and decided to take his life.
Today, the judge sentenced Matthew Borges to 2 consecutive terms of 30 years to life in prison, 1 term for premeditation and 1 for extreme atrocity or cruelty.
We hope that the sentence handed down serves to help him find remorse and repentance in his life.
Defense attorney Ed Hayden argues that his client can be rehabilitated.
But he's not irredeemably depraved. There is hope for his redemption. He can change his life.
Matthew Borges will become parole eligible after 30 years, and he will get credit for the more than 2.5 years he has already served.
Philip Chisholm, on indictment number 2013-1446001. The jury, having returned a verdict of guilty of murder in the first degree on deliberate premeditation and extreme atrocity and cruelty, you will hearken to the sentence the court has awarded against you. The court, having duly considered your offenses, it is hereby ordered that you be committed to the Department of Youth Services until the age of 21, and furthermore committed to the Massachusetts Correctional Institution at Cedar Junction for the period of not less than 25 years and not more than life, and that you stand committed in execution of this sentence. On indictment 2013-1447002, the jury, having returned a verdict of guilty as a youthful offender of armed robbery, you will hearken to the sentence the court has awarded against you. The court having duly considered your offenses, it is hereby ordered that you be committed to the Department of Youth Services until the age of 21, and furthermore committed to the Massachusetts Correctional Institution at Cedar Junction for the period of not less than 40 years and not more than 40 years and 1 day, and that this sentence is to run concurrent with the sentence imposed on indictment number 2013-1446001. On indictment number 2014-109, the jury, having returned a verdict of guilty as a youthful offender on the charge of aggravated rape, you will hearken to the sentence the court has awarded against you. The court, having duly considered your offenses, it is hereby ordered that you be committed to the Department of Youth Services until the age of 21, and furthermore committed to the Massachusetts Correctional Institution at Cedar Junction for the period of not less than 40 years and not more than 40 years and 1 day, and that this sentence is to be concurrent with the sentence imposed on indictment number 2013-1446 and 2013-1447002, and that you stand committed in execution of this sentence.
She was stalked, tied up, strangled, and raped. Then her lifeless body stuffed in a closet. This teen may look young and innocent, but this is the face of a brutal killer.
And I believe that he planned to kill numerous people and used my aunt as a warm-up, so to speak, for those other killings.
Gavin Ramsey is only 17 years old, and today he found out he'll spend the rest of his life in prison for murdering his 98-year-old neighbor.
News 5 was in the courtroom all day listening to the harrowing testimony that helped the judge make that decision. Our Amanda Van Allen here now with new information tonight. And Amanda, what an emotional day in court.
Danita and Rob, emotional doesn't even begin to describe it. Families on both sides crying, fighting for the best interest of their loved one. Even Gavin's mom pleading with the court, saying her son is not evil.
He was handcuffed and shackled and kept his head down for most of the afternoon while he waited to learn his fate.
Had he not been caught, I have no doubt he would continue to escalate his crimes and continue killing.
Family members of 98-year-old Margaret Douglas pleaded with the judge to give her killer the maximum sentence.
I feel the escalation of his crimes through the years show his inability to reform. He is not safe to be on the streets. He will hurt people again, He will kill people again.
And so did the prosecution.
Because even though he stalked her, and even though he murdered her, and he videoed her and abused her and disrobed her and used jelly and stuffed the body in a closet and had time to search and ransack the house and find the wallet, he was always mindful of the time, Your Honor.
17-year-old Gavin Ramsey pleaded no contest to murdering Douglas inside of her Wadsworth home back in April. Authorities say he strangled the elderly woman to death, sexually assaulted her, then stuffed her in a closet. While her family asked for a life sentence, his attorney asked for mercy.
Gavin, as a 17-year-old boy, can engage in treatment. He can engage in programming.
The defendant sat stone-faced the entire time, except when his mom spoke.
He's loyal to a fault. He's compassionate. And this thing that we're sitting here discussing is not who my son is. I don't care how much you want to pluck out evil facts. That's not my son.
I'm so sorry for what I did. And I constantly live in regret and shame because of it.
Now, that was the first time we've heard remorse from Gavin throughout the trial and the sentencing. Despite his late pleas, he will be in prison for the rest of his life.
Silence in the packed courtroom was broken by the sound of shackles around 18-year-old Jonathan Belton's waist. Emotion built and spilled over when Officer Mason Samborski's family addressed the court and the young defendant himself.
I hope that one day you regret what you did and realize what you could have done differently. You are alive and your family gets to see you and talk to you. We don't get to see or talk to Mason ever again. We get nothing but pain and wonderment of what our future could have been. Jonathan Belton, you shattered my happiness, my hopes, and my dreams, and for that, I will never forgive you.
There were murmurs, outcries, and one ejection when the officer's sister told the defendant,
Jonathan Belton, it is over. Hey.
handing down the mandatory life sentence without parole. The judge called the case personal and a tragedy for all. She could not grant Jonathan's request for a private meeting with his family, but did allow him to speak to them in open court.
We know what really happened. I know what really happened. The Lord knows what really happened. I love you all to death. And I'm going to see y'all soon.
Defense attorney Jeffrey Feiger was not in court, but his associate says their appeal will be based in part on a recent Supreme Court ruling striking down life sentences for youthful offenders.
In court after an admitted killer is caught on camera smiling during his sentencing. A judge fed up with that casual attitude stopped the proceedings in a surprising move. 7 Action News reporter Shelley Childers live in the newsroom right now with what happened next. Shelley?
Well, Stephen, it's a case of a murdered Ann Arbor teen, and it was quite a shakeup in court today. The judge asked the prosecutor to throw out the sentence agreement and take this case to trial. There was a long recess as everything was put on pause because of this 17-year-old's behavior. Donta Wright sat in court smiling and nearly laughing as a mother shed tears for her son shot and killed by Wright.
I've lost laughter and love. I no longer have the hope of having grandchildren. I've lost the enjoyment of holidays and birthdays and of everyday life.
Wright addressed the court showing no remorse.
I just want to tell y'all, I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon. I love my family.
That's all you got to say?
Yes.
The judge, clearly fed up with the defendant's attitude, stopped the proceedings and asked prosecution to consider taking this case to trial, where Wright would face a stiffer punishment if found guilty by a jury.
But watching you sit there, smile, laugh, and shake your head like this was no big deal, I'm very tempted to just say, I'm not going to accept this sentence agreement. We'll go to trial. And if you're convicted of felony murder, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. That means you'll die there.
This is not the first time the teen has shocked the courtroom. Back in June during a pretrial hearing, he admitted he shot and killed 18-year-old Jordan Klee. It was October 2016. Wright said he and 2 other friends were trying to rob Klee when he shot Klee in the back of the head, killing him. The victim, a senior at Pioneer High School in Ann Arbor, was described as a high-achieving student and football athlete.
This year was supposed to be a year of celebration, of senior pictures with prom and graduation and parties. Instead, it was a nightmare a nightmare that no parent should ever endure.
Ultimately, Jordan's family decided not to take this case to trial and to move forward with today's sentencing. The defense attorney apologizing on behalf of the 17-year-old.
His smiling was in no way meant as disrespectful either to the family, to the victim, or to this court.
Donta Wright was sentenced to 23 to 50 years for armed robbery, felony firearm, and second-degree murder of 18-year-old Jordan Clee. And in court, we also learned that Donta Wright is accused of being part of the finesse gang from Ypsilanti. The other two people charged in this case have also pled guilty for their roles. Delrano Gracie and Jeremiah Ellison are scheduled to be sentenced in September.
The killings in McClary in 1995 got national attention. 16-year-old Brian Bassett shot and killed his mother, Wendy, and his father, Michael. And Bassett also drowned his 5-year-old brother, Austin.
One of his first thoughts after he found himself in jail was, geez, my parents are going to be mad. And he was in jail for killing his parents. He didn't realize it. He didn't realize what was going on.
Bassett's attorney, Eric Lindell, said his client, who had been homeless, on drugs, and suffering from mental health problems, should not have received a life sentence without a chance for parole. And today, 23 years after the killing, the state's Supreme Court agreed, ruling those sentences for 16 and 17-year-olds are cruel and therefore unconstitutional.
The law in the U.S. Constitution, the U.S. Supreme Court, and now our state constitution has said, when you have that type of situation, you've got to treat children for what they are. They're children, and their brains aren't fully developed until they reach about the age of 22 or 23.
Now almost 40, and at the Monroe Correctional Complex, Bassett is taking college courses. He got married and has been a model inmate, according to his attorney, who believes this ruling will eventually get Bassett out on parole for the crime he committed as a 16-year-old.
It's haunted him. He feels terrible remorse. He thinks about it every day. And if you let him out of prison even tomorrow, it's not going to change that.
Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
35-year-old man who spent more than half his life in prison for a murder prosecutors now say he did not commit finally walked free today. A reinvestigation by the Brooklyn District Attorney's Conviction Review Unit found that Sheldon Thomas was wrongfully arrested and convicted after being set up by police. The investigation found that officers who had a grudge against Thomas, shown here on the right, knowingly showed a witness a different Sheldon Thomas on the left so they could arrest him.
Okay, I'm back. I'm about to end this. I have to do another live. It's gonna be on this channel. You might want to check it out because my next topic, it kind of segue off of this. My next topic is gonna be talking about autistic people. Children. There are some people that they pretend their child has autism when they really do not. I'm going to touch on that in the next live after this. If you catch everything on the replay, it's still going to be up. Just catch it, right? So anyway, with that being said, y'all saw this, right? So what do you think? Do you think a teenager should be sentenced to life without parole? Do you think it's a cutoff in the teenage years? Like, for example, right? Do you think like a 14-year-old knows what they're doing? Do you think a 15-year-old knows what they're doing? You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with that? Like, is there a demarcation? Like, do you say my child is XYZ, but they know how to knock people upside the head and steal and unalive and all that. Y'all know I'm saying unalive because it is what it is, right? Right. If you don't know, look it up. What do you think? Should teenagers be sentenced as an adult? Or should we have sympathy for them? Should we blame the parents? See, all this, what I'm saying right now, is segue into two different lives. Another one I'm doing on this channel, another one on my podcast channel. What do you think? Should you say the child knows better when they're a certain age? Or should you say it's on the parents? I'm just asking. What y'all think? Comment your thoughts below. Please share this. Thumbs it up. Again, I'm just starting to do content over here. So it is what it is. So the best way you can support this channel, yes. Of course, comment your thoughts below because that gets the conversation started. Yes, I can say Cash App, PayPal. I can say all that. As a matter of fact, I got Patreon. I can say all that too. But I'm not going to say that. In my opinion, the best thing that you can do for this channel is subscribe. And then after you subscribe, and when you see I'm live, or if you see an upload, share it. So subscribe and share. Subscribe and share. That's the best and the free thing that you can do. Thank y'all so much for watching this. Stay woke.